are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Bring it back.
1 2 1 2.
Wah, 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 wah. You are now. We need Cole Johnson right here. When we bring it back, we need to play an announcement where Cole Johnson says you are now.
Yeah.
To the Fourcast. Might be that.
All right, man, get out. All right, sir, get out. Left.
No, I'm with it. No, boy, I'm the best feet dancer in the world. I'm ever.
People don't dance no more.
All they do is this. Yeah.
Welcome to the Fourcast. Once again, it is the four of us. Can you believe it?
Hardly.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row, ain't it?
That's 2 weeks in a row.
And that's amidst contract and negotiations too. How'd that happen?
But it's all right. Training camp's coming up, so we're gonna see.
But welcome to the Fourcast. Myself, A-Trap, Mayhem, and King Doc coming at you every time this same week. Every time this week, Mondays, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Reviewing films, documentaries, movies, completely different way, 4 different perspectives. And tonight, we got a good one. And this is, something that happened in 2021, but the Trainwreck, which is a new series with Netflix. I think this is their 3rd or 4th one, but it's called the Astroworld Tragedy. And that's what we're going to review for tonight. We're going to start, as we normally do, kind of going around the room. And kind of how was your weekend? Weekend recap as we kind of go around. And Wilkes, go to you first.
This was actually a quiet weekend because last weekend I was helping my mom clear out some brush and trees that needed to be cut down, and they're old as Methuselah. But other than that, no, it was a good weekend. It was quiet. I made yesterday. I actually made chicken Slovakia. Made homemade pita bread so it was like a Greek kind of thing. So that was pretty nice. Did that, cut the yard, chilled. I had a oh gosh, I can't think of the name. I had a Rip Van Winkle cigar, which was pretty good.
I heard that. Rip Van Winkle fell the hell asleep. Go, H-Rap. I said, Rip Van Winkle fell the hell asleep. What's the next line? I don't know.
Damn, that's Peter Piper. Damn.
Yeah, Peter Piper. Humpty Dumpty fell down. This is our time. Jack me number 1.
Throw him back.
And he was quick. Something about OJ's pick or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So that was good. It was good.
All right. Doc.
Man, okay, quit asking me what I do on the weekend, man. If I don't tell you first, don't ask me. And the reason why, because the people I do it with gonna think I'm not enjoying it. And just because I don't remember it, don't mean I don't enjoy it. Shit, I don't remember, man. Let me
a bullet point. You slept, you took a nap.
Man, I'm really lost. I don't know. Oh, I know what I did. This is what's the biggest thing. I hung out with Chico on Saturday morning.
Okay. See, that's good.
That's the owner, creator of GoldenEye Creations, the producer of the beat for the Fourcast, Queen 3 and King, and several BS3 network shows. We did a little father-son, kind of chilling. He bought a new ride. Remember we talked about that last time, Wilkes?
Yeah.
You buy a new ride. Every brother got to have somebody they take their new rides to.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it is. That's like a rite of passage. That's
my uncle and aunt right here, baby. My uncle and aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did that. Did a little spring cleaning and getting ready for, should I say, summer cleaning, getting ready for the 4th of July this weekend, which will be hosted right here at the Dawkins Manor.
Nice.
So me and the wifey did some cleaning up. Of course, we got
nice.
a lot of TV time in this weekend, watching some of our shows.
Nice.
I'm gonna get a nap on the Saturday or Sunday. If I don't get a nap, if I'm not here on Monday, that's why.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Didn't do a whole lot. Didn't get out very much. I think me and Amani my daughter ended up going somewhere Friday to pick up something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a blur, man. When you are as sought after as I am, you don't remember, man. It's just you just look back in the wake. Yeah, look at the wake. Yeah. I was over by Wilkes' house a second ago picking up tables and chairs for the weekend. I don't know. I'm sun exhausted. When I walk from the house to the truck, you are about to melt. It is just, I don't know, man. That's why crime is up in the summertime.
Yeah. Hot time.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hey,
call me.
People want to know, man. People want to know what you're doing.
I'll call you. Matter of fact, the educator queen just left her. She was talking about the documentary earlier today. So hopefully she's back at the house and can pop on. But, it's just family, man. Family time with the wifey. And every day is a vacation with the wifey. So I was on vacation this weekend.
Yeah, good answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I get to stick around for a little longer.
All right, A-Trap. We just want some bullet points, man. I don't need to know
everything. A-Trap, you talk what you ain't got to get no damn bullet point. You say it how you want to say it. If you want to speak in paragraph form, speak in paragraph form. If you want to give a damn soliloquy, essay, I don't give a damn.
Clip notes.
Right. What's that?
Like a
Native American Chicago Blackhawks, now the Warriors.
Chicago Blackhawks? Oh, Warriors.
Yeah. Like Chicago Warriors. The Westinghouse Warriors.
Okay.
Warrior Weekend was this weekend, last Saturday in June. Every year's Warrior Weekend.
That's like a class reunion or something of the nature.
Alumni.
Okay, it looks like a reunion.
Yeah, it was every year. Class from '68 until they rebuilt the building in 11. Everybody comes out. We bomb this one forest preserve and take over.
You know how many class reunions I've been to?
0.
Exactly.
You don't like nobody you went to high school with?
Yeah, but that's the thing. The people that I like that I went to high school with, I'm already talking to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show up to
just hang out with them. You don't need to go to the whole.
I don't need to go see him.
I'm not gonna show up to a reunion and just hang out with just randos. Like, yeah, get out of here. If they're not gonna be there, I'm not gonna be there. So it works out.
Yeah.
Missed me.
Yeah. Well, it's a ball every year, man.
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice though. That's good. That's good stuff, man. I remember we don't do family reunions like we used to, but yeah, that any kind of reunion just kind of takes me back as a kid. I'm glad I was able to experience that growing up, man. I'd like to fellowship with the peoples, man, and see the fam. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I had a good weekend, chilled, relaxed, did a workout.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. How was your weekend? Nobody asked Ben how was his weekend. My bad.
I go to everybody else first. The host go last. But yeah, man, had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Look forward to Saturdays and Sundays, and that's the time to chill with family. We watched You People again. My daughter already likes that movie. Kind of brought back memories when we reviewed it, and it's still funny. And shout out to Eddie Murphy and everybody involved in that film.
Yeah, man.
Watch some rom-coms, not because I wanted to, but because
that's a good one. So part of the wifey time, we watched Mary J. Blige on some Philo now, but it originally aired on what's the network that shows the movies like that last 7 hours that we talked about last week?
Lifetime.
It originally aired on Lifetime as like a movie.
I didn't know I was pregnant.
3-part movie that was actually pretty decent. So we actually watched that over the weekend too.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Mary J.
Yeah, definitely, man. The legend. Always falling over when she's doing that dance. Her and Lil' Kim. All right, so Doc, you're gonna go give us a rundown. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but
Yep, but I'll go ahead just for argument's sake. I'll give you a couple because the one on Netflix is really short.
Yeah.
They just say featuring exclusive interviews with survivors, paramedics, and festival staff. This documentary examines the 2021 Astroworld tragedy and its aftermath. Now, let's see. We also have another one. Let's just say from this site, the viewer's perspective, which ain't loading. So this is real live producing on the air. But it says Netflix Trainwreck explores the wildest real life disasters you couldn't stop watching. So so there we go. Astroworld, right out of Texas. Finally, something that we can give to Texas. It wasn't great, but at least Texas get a little airplay because it seems like every damn thing we do got something to do with Chicago.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Chi-Town. Nothing. All right. Shout out to Big Mo. Thank you for tuning in. He said, when are y'all gonna do Ironheart? He said, big year for Kugler. We can do it. We had some talks that we're gonna make an effort. We're gonna do more current films, obviously, because that's what brings in the people, the viewership, and that nature. So that's what we'll be working on. We got Sinners coming up next week. This is a sneak peek. I don't need to play a preview for that because everybody's seen it. But Sinners next week, which is coming out on Max, and then we'll continue to roll out the next films. Brother Kev in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, now let me ask you this, because one of these in Time, it calls it the first installment of Netflix's weekly new anthology, examines what led to the crowd-crushing tragedy at the 2021 Music Festival.
Yeah, they've come out with one every week. So they did one on there was a Canadian mayor. I forgot what the guy's name was. Yeah. He was kind of like a Canadian Trump. Mm-hmm. They did one on him.
I would rather have him.
Okay. So this is a docu-series that covers different issues or different train wrecks, so to speak, every week. Okay, got it.
Well, I hope they get that Nancy Kerrigan in there.
Give me the crackhead versus the bigot.
Hey, and honestly, dude couldn't have been a crackhead because he was fat. Most crackheads ain't fat.
I've seen a fat crackhead.
I've seen him briefly. Like, I don't remember much about him, but I remember kind of hearing about him. But then it was kind of like, okay, off to the next.
The guy was hilarious. He was a people person. I definitely give you that.
That's what I said. Give me him.
Yeah.
People.
Just use
so November 2021, Astroworld, which a little bit of backstory. Astroworld was the amusement park. Was like the Six Flags in Houston, and but it ended up closing down. So Travis Scott kind of named his tour or his festival Astroworld, which Texas doesn't have a lot of those. So it was pretty big. I felt like the documentary is initial thoughts. I felt like the documentary was done.
Appreciate you. We didn't ask for it, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I felt like it was good. Obviously, it was a tragedy, so you say good, but I felt like the way they presented the documentary, the people they had involved, really gave you a great rundown of what was going on.
Not bad meaning good, but bad. Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
A-Trap.
Back and Run DMC reference.
There you go. Old school hip hop tonight.
One more and everybody will throw their hats in the ring.
But A-Trap, man, initial thoughts on this Astroworld tragedy.
I got a different perspective. I enjoyed the documentary, but I was disappointed because it just shows how the American populace, we will do anything we can to save rich people. You got a 29-year-old person performing on stage, and I understand it's his concert, it's his movement, but when I watched, before I ever laid eyes on this, I said this needs to be a Live Nation issue, not a Travis Scott issue, and they just threw it right at the feet of a 29-year-old man. I understand he's an adult. I understand he's the headliner. I understand that he organizes, but he's not an engineer. He's not the person in charge. Live Nation was in charge, and they kicked him in his face. I've never even heard Travis Scott's song before this. I heard the name, never paid attention to him, but I just didn't like the way that what we'll do is get the middleman, and then as the people in the documentary even said, we will let the rich people skate, and it was disappointing from that perspective. Very engaging in every other aspect of the work.
Yeah, and really, he's not even the middleman. He don't organize the concert, the seating. That's not his thing. I think his part of it was if you see people on stage saying stop the show, which I don't know if you heard it or not.
Yeah.
But if you see people, if you visibly seen people in distress or laying on the ground or somebody yelling at him, that would have been his cue to do something. But other than that, I don't know what all he could have done. Doc.
Yeah, I didn't. I knew who Travis Scott was. I can't say that I was a scholar of his music at all. But obviously, just like the entire world, we heard about this tragedy when it took place. And of course, that's what they were doing. They were initially trying to determine, okay, who's at fault? Is it the artist? Is it Live Nation? Is it the security staff? Is it the planners? Because the way they set up the barricades, and I don't know that that's been settled necessarily.
At the end, they said it was nobody. Nobody was at fault.
Yeah. I think, culpability is shared, in a situation like that. You can't have an event that big and one person be left holding the bag, But, again, you had the Houston Police Department and maybe even FBI chime in on what the hell went on, and as far as an investigation is concerned, But, that's one of the things that you are always in a situation where that you're at risk for when you have big crowds. Simple as that. It don't matter what it is. Somebody could literally drop something that sounds like a gunshot. And people could take off running. There's a reason why it is illegal to scream fire in a theater.
And that happened here. If y'all remember, there was a story. There was a cheer competition.
That's right. At the Dallas Convention Center.
And everybody ran, and it wasn't a gunshot. It was just
nothing.
hell around. So, but when you look at this on this large of a scale, and we'll get into it. I don't want to get too far along, but Wilkes.
Of course, I've heard of Travis Scott. I've heard of his music. I didn't listen. I don't have a library playlist of Travis Scott, but
is he related to Jill Scott?
I'll get back to you that. It's probably hitting under her left breast. I'll get back to you on that one. So anyway, this was one that I didn't even know this was a third annual Travis Scott.
That's right. Me either, man.
Yeah.
Me either.
I didn't hear about it until this tragic, whatever you want to call it. But I'm like, well, whatever, So it was like, of course, there's not probably going to be another one, but it was just one of those things where this definitely stood out. Now, I will say time got away from me because I didn't realize it was 2021. I felt like it was like 2023, 2022 or maybe. But, this was interesting because like A-Trap said, and I felt like that this gave me Juice WRLD vibes. It's like you're surrounded by these people that see you doing these pills, doing these drugs. They're not stepping in. They're not saying they're providing you with your vices. And it's just like, Travis Scott, if you've seen previous concerts to Travis Scott, then you know what you're getting or what's going to happen. So Live Nation, you would think, hey, let's put these things in places with the local PD department or the fire department, because in the one they showed, you got somebody jumping off a railing in one video, and it's just like, okay, if he's this Elvis Presley to kids, if he's this huge artist for kids, it was like, okay, then you need to put everything in place. But it's like you wait until there's a tragic moment and there's a flaw in your safety and how you direct and conduct.
And it's too late at that point.
Exactly.
It's too late when you see it. Let me get to the chat here. What's up, Knox? in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
What's up, man?
And also we got CJ in the building. Oh, CJ, you seem to be a Travis Scott fan, so we stay here, tap in with us. You know, join in on the comment. They're talking about my man's Travis Scott this episode. Wanga in the building. Thank you for tuning in, man. Feel like we hadn't seen you in a little while.
You've been here the last 3 weeks.
You guys weren't here
last week.
We've been here the last 3 weeks.
Okay, well, thank you for tuning in continuously. We appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Travis Scott goes hard in the paint. Like, he's definitely up there as far as Houston rap goes.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is like a rave. This wasn't. I think when you think of rap, at least with me, when I think of rap concerts, you know, everybody's waving their hands, but it's not to the point where people are jumping into the crowd and to that point. So he's a different level of rap hip hop artist. I think he's in his own kind of category, and that's what they kind of showed here in the documentary. Is he's standing up on some of the speakers and that's his style. Yeah. But I think when you have a style like that, it has to match the venue. And I think that's where everything went wrong. This venue maybe wasn't the way it was positioned and worked out. But even when you go to the beginning of it and you're seeing people, they got these flimsy gates that you bought at a Hobby Lobby. Yeah. And I mean, this stuff is just getting knocked over. The preparation wasn't there. I think that's probably issue number one. But I didn't know Travis Scott was at this level of a performer. And almost like, is he on a Michael Jackson level to this generation?
Absolutely.
It looks like it. I mean, it could be a combination of he's at this level and he's at home. You know, you can draw a big giant crowd wherever, but when you go home, if you dope like he seems to be, everybody's gonna come check you out. Because I mean, no matter who you are, when you are big, when you go home, everything that's mine. Like Derrick Rose, like me and my crew was wearing Adidas the whole time. Chicago went from Adidas to Nike.
My Adidas.
Oh, that's three.
Three. Hey,
everybody in Chicago.
You froze, Brian.
You froze a minute ago.
You back?
Oh, well.
You back?
No, I was just saying, you know, when you're at home, you're king. And he seems to have it going. You know, he you know, his life, he like Red and Method Man in one dude, because Red and Method do the same thing he does.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got
that's a good comparison.
Teenagers, and anytime you got teenagers on your team, you're gonna win. If you get the kids, you get the kids, you get the ladies.
Yeah.
You won. Game over.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so the gates open at 10. Oh, go ahead, Wilkes.
Oh, no, that's what I was just kind of what H-Rap was saying. It was like, you are this Elvis Presley, you are this Michael Jackson, bigger than life to these kids, because like I said, that I know it's been a long time coming. Like I said at work today, it's one of those things where he's singing about mental health. He's singing about the girl that left me or the girl that I liked. He's singing about drugs. He's singing about the Mopar, Scat Pack, and all that. I mean, he's relating to the teenagers. He's relating to those kids. And at that moment, it's just like, oh, he's one of us. He understands. Even though he's 20-something years old, it's like, hey, I've been where you're at. I've been through that. I still hang out with people like you. And it's like, so it's one of those things where he's in the know and they feel connected. So it's just one of these things where, you know, these kids, these teens are going to these parties. They're going to these takeovers as they do now. So it's definitely one of those things where it's like, it's relatable. So it's like, if they find somebody that's relatable to them, they're going to latch onto it. That's why I said this gave me Juice WRLD vibes when I watched it. It was just like, oh, this is what they're dealing with. They're going through.
Yeah. And CJ says, people like Travis Scott and Lil Uzi concerts be on some mosh pit type stuff. Niggas be punching the air. They're pushing each other like it's a rock concert. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and at this particular concert or at his particular set, there wasn't any room to really push or punch the air or do none of that. It was pushing, but it's almost like you so crowded in that it's just like a wave and you going back and forth. On that day, ironically, I was in Houston for the concerts after club parties. But that one situation happened, everything shut down. And that was only day one.
Right.
Like it was a 2-day event, and that happened day one. So, you know, when you look at an event like this, and all of us are parents, and your kid is going to this concert, you don't expect this to happen. You maybe expect them to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they have too much to drink and they call you to come pick them up or something like that. But you don't expect to get a phone call that your son or daughter is dead at a concert. And so, I mean, let's just talk about let's talk about that. All us as having, you know, kids like Doc.
Well,
you know,
first of all, you know, you got there's a difference between a concert and a festival. So that's the first thing parents need to understand. A festival generally is on multiple days, you know, and they're generally all day and multiple artists, right? And they're generally all day. So as a result, you are adding in other elements that you typically would not have for a basic concert, which is the element of hours, standing, probably heat, because they're going to have these outdoor festivals in a situation where they can be outdoors. So generally heat is going to be more of a factor. So physically, these kids probably were in a situation where they were probably more susceptible to what had taken place because there was already a degradation of their bodies, from being out there. And generally, the headline artist like Travis Scott was going to be last. But yeah, anywhere your kid asks to go, that's going to have a lot of people. You're thinking about that aspect of it, what's crowd control going to be like, things of that nature. And it can be as simple as taking them to the city park. If you were at the city park last night in a family city last night, like ours, Wilkes and Ben, it was chaos at that park last night.
I'm sure it was.
So much so to where you really felt like calling the police and saying, why y'all ain't out here patrolling to make sure don't nothing go down? Because it was a tinderbox. Meaning anything can be set off at any time. When you got, in this day and age, you got numbers and you got egos. And you got the heat. And you got no police presence.
It don't mix.
So, so your daughter is asking to go up there. It's like, okay, I don't know if I want you in that mix.
Right.
So like I said, it's a consideration every single time, man. What's the crowd's gonna be like? It's just what it is, but that's where your faith comes in.
Yeah. And this is one of those festivals, and this is one of those venues where there is no seating. There was no seating at all. So it's all standing. If you're in a Texas CU theater, like here in Texas, there's actual seats. So you can better monitor, okay, these are the amounts of tickets that were sold. These are the amount of people that's going to be here. I think they do have a little area down front. But there's people monitoring how many people can go down there. But when you just have this is the amount of tickets, this is just a open area, and then you got people hopping the fence and people like one of the crowd management guy was saying at this point, when the concert at its festivals at its height with Travis Scott, you don't know how many people are there.
Yeah.
Because there was so many people just coming from all different avenues. So this was just I think a disaster that really was in the making, but nobody really addressed it or dealt with it.
Yeah. So have we? Did they? I don't know that they did a follow up, but has anyone heard whether those families, sued anybody? Were there any lawsuits associated with this, and what the end result was? If they said that in a documentary, my apologies, I missed it.
Yeah. At the end, they said that there were some lawsuits, but they all settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. So,
and they probably have a non-disclosure agreement in place on those. So somebody felt that they were at fault, and hey, I got news for you. You better settle out of court, because you go to court with something like this.
Right.
If most juries are going to say, yeah, this is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it was Live Nation for sure. I mean, Now there was one particular victim. It was Rudy Pena, who was his friends were in this, which I commend them to talk about one of the worst nights of your life. Basically. But his mother was on there and his sister was on here. So I wonder if they weren't included in that, getting paid off. But,
oh yeah, because of the non-disclosure stuff.
Yeah, because nobody else really was there from the other families that I saw.
I think that was it. Now there was
Guy's family was there.
Say that again.
The girl who died family was there. The girl who, what was her name?
Bria.
Was that her boyfriend? I was trying to. Oh, they were just friends.
Yeah, I feel like a dumbass. That's my daughter's name.
He said, bro, that concert was so not secure. Like my cousins that are from Houston easily got through security and didn't pay a dime. There you go, right there.
Hey, they bulldozed this.
Yeah, when the gates open at 10, it was over. Like, forget
it was
security.
already chaos.
You got 4 people trying to say, hold on, stop.
Yeah, right.
You better get out the way, man.
Come on, man.
You basically gonna have to pick and choose who you about to stop.
And these young folks do not respect security like we do.
No, they do not care. I'm busy.
And they didn't come from billy clubs and German shepherds, man.
It was a single foul line.
No, not at all. Yeah, the water hoses.
And that's not fair. That's not fair because they did come from I Can't Breathe, so they ain't just totally
that was only a year old.
Yeah, they ain't too ignorant. Yeah, that's true, H-Rap. But it's been enough, cop killings and stuff like that. But
right.
It just seems, I could be completely wrong, but it just seems like our generations are a little bit more, respectful of authority.
Oh yeah.
Somebody from my generation would have got shot.
Yeah. Right.
They'd have ran.
They got shot and then say free.
Yeah.
Put your hands up, like I'm on the ground, man.
Gun, he reaching. Oh. Sorry, my bad.
I thought that was a gun.
Like that lady
after my ID, man.
The day that George Floyd dude went to jail, she was, I'm in danger. Shot
right.
So they don't know that.
Oh,
it's to you, Doc. You said, young niggas be on that beat. Yeah.
Like he had to. You just could have been with YNs. We all knew what you were talking about.
YNs, you kind of old, man.
You gotta put in an abbreviation.
Yeah.
Y'all that don't know. CJ Money.
And then gave the definition.
Right. Thank you. Yes. All backwards.
CJ Money.
Hey, plays by CJ. Make sure to subscribe. Don't play it up loud at work, though.
Yeah, new season coming up. Let's go, man.
You're not playing it loud in your car.
No, it just depends on who in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you driving through the wrong neighborhood.
Cowboy season is coming.
Cowboy money.
Come on.
Dak Prescott gonna keep you in business, CJ. I promise you that.
Max. The Cowboys will keep you in business regardless.
Promise you that.
Yeah. Hey, y'all got that wide receiver squad. Come on, man.
We'll see.
But we got a quarterback that got a lump in his throat, though.
We'll see. All right, so
you feel me?
Yeah. I got you.
Reggie Miller.
And he can't breathe either in playoffs.
Damn. Hopefully stay healthy.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, stay healthy, man. All these injuries, man. That's the trouble. Well, I know the different show. Sorry, go ahead.
This movie or documentary, Unclock the New Fear. They never go into a concert without chairs.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need.
I don't doubt it.
And the educated queen don't need no new fears. But let's just keep this profile picture up for just a moment.
What you say, boo? If I ask you to.
Let me see if I can make the smile of it.
Man,
you got your eyes like that.
Don't listen.
Hey, get them back tomorrow.
He's killing them out here with the profile pic.
Pressure.
Get
on their necks.
Right, A-Trap. I mean, right, Will. Yeah, I love it.
Man.
All right. So, you look at this concert, and this is the key detail that I wasn't aware of. When you look at this festival, I just thought, okay, I honestly thought it was just a Travis Scott concert. I didn't think it was a festival.
About it, when the news first hit, that's all I assumed that's what it was.
That's what I
didn't know it was all this in depth, and like Wilk said, I had no idea this was like the 3rd or 4th annual.
Right.
It was under
2019.
Right.
What was it? 2019 was the first one. They didn't have the 2020, so then that's when they brought it back in 2021.
Yeah, ain't nobody told me nothing.
Right. I had no idea. It was pretty quiet.
But SZA was there. They had a long list of
Well, they had to have scissors because there's some tape that you got to cut from time to time. The wristbands, you gotta have scissors. What they gotta
do? Megan Thee Stallion.
But yeah, man, they had a lot of artists, and Travis Scott was the main headliner, but there was nobody on his stage. So basically what happened was around the time when concert goers start to realize, like, okay, Travis Scott's about to go on, everybody starts coming over there. So everybody's trying to get the best position.
Right.
But the way it was like it was in the shape of a T. Actually, I got it up right here.
They said after the SZA went out, they all red.
So this was kind of how the venue was set up. And then you look at the center portion, which is where medical staff, photographers, you look at the left and the right towards the front, and this is where a lot of people were pushed up against these barricades or even towards the back. So when you're in a position like that and you really can't move,
put that back up for a second. Put that back up for a second,
please. To be in.
So you see the sides too. That's one of the things is that this wasn't normal in the sense that they could only come in from the back toward the front. They could come in from the sides. So they said that was causing an issue as well.
Yeah, and when you think of crowd management, when you think of just having exits, like you needed to have something towards the front, for people to be able to get through the front portion to exit out over towards the.
I thought they would like extended the barricade just around the cross, but it was one of those things.
That's a weird.
That's a very weird.
I'm not getting it.
Yes, that's why would you divide it like that? It's weird.
I got a question. I might come off as a jerk ass, but it won't be the first time, won't be the last.
Yeah.
But nobody mentioned the crowd being at fault.
Of course not. They were rowdy when it first started.
That's true.
Go with that, A-Trap. I'll give you some support on that one.
Because we saw from the very beginning. They mobbed the venue itself. They just started rushing it. And I know of a person who started a riot, and I won't say his name. I don't need him to get indicted. But and nobody got hurt. But it just. I'm being silly now, but seriously, everybody blame Travis. Everybody blame Rock Nation. Live Nation. But as I'm watching this, I'm going, it's these damn kids' fault too, man. They got to get at least 40% of the blame, man. Maybe even 60. I would say 50.
Yeah.
I think 40. I'm gonna settle at 40 because the venue should have been set up better, and that's all Rock Nation. But and while they were doing this, they focused on Travis, they focused on the paramedics, and nobody said, all these damn kids acting a damn fool.
Yeah, right.
I've been to Rock the Bells, and it's a 12-hour event, and you got like 17 groups. But because I was a grown man when I went, set my ass in the back.
Yeah.
Way back in the back.
This sounds just as good from here as it would up there.
Like I told Ben, I'm way over there.
Yeah, I was in the back. I was on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, and like the educators Queen said, it ain't no seats, it ain't no king dog shit.
Right. I'm gonna need to sit down, man.
I bought my own seat. I was like,
and when you and when it gets to the point where there's people on the ground and you're literally standing on them.
If you're in a crowd and then you're on like that and you're on the ground,
that's the worst place to be.
Yes, man.
But and I think there was at least two people. One of them was the young man that was interviewed in this, the guy, the basketball player. He was Bree's friend. He went up there and said, "Hey, you got to stop it." And then there was another person that went up there also. But everybody else was, was having a good time because then go back to the venue. You got people suffering in the back or in the front, and over on the other side, people enjoying it. So it's really hard to pinpoint really where everything was happening.
Yeah, like Ben said, like one side was still enjoying it, but then one side was in chaos. Like, what was?
Yeah, that's the only reason you have trouble in giving the crowd assessing the proper amount of blame to the crowd. Again,
no, I mean just the rush.
Trust me.
Nature. Yeah.
Trust me, I'm with you. There's some culpability there, but it's when you're how far back are you before you know what's going on? When you don't know what's happening, or don't know your impact. Are you 10 rows back or 10 people? Right. Yeah, when I say rows, I don't mean like chairs.
No, right.
But 10 people back before you know. Right. Are you 20 people back? Are you 50 people back? Because again, I'm willing to bet, like he said, the people on the left thought there was no problem. 50 people back thought we just having a good time,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we've seen the footage of Michael Jackson concerts, people fainting and getting carried over.
Right.
And that was different than this. This is people.
My man was pretty stiff.
That lifeless, I don't know if that was one of the people that passed or not, but he lived. Gone.
That's lived. The dude who was sitting there that the lady saved.
Oh, the one that okay. But I mean, carrying that like that's not a faint because I'm excited. That's a faint because I'm on the verge of dying. And when you think of Travis Scott, let's put ourselves in his shoes. I'm performing this show. I know how my audience is. I know it's gonna be rowdy. So people getting carried over, and it maybe not be a bad thing. So yeah, this is really hard to put it on one person, but obviously the venue got to get a large part of it.
Yeah, there's called contributory negligence. So, several people or entities, contributed to the negligence. Simple as that. Live Nation, they're the promoters of this thing, which they said if you're in the music industry, right? They said this is a documentary. If you're in the music industry or the concert industry, so to speak, you work for Live Nation 90% of the people, right? That's at a concert venue, they're Live Nation employees. And, so you got to give some big time culpability to Live Nation, don't you? And think about it. Even the security force, they said it was 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, the day of the show when they got the call.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have been very.
It was like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah. So and they couldn't have been very prepared. So if I'm filing a suit, if I'm an attorney, let me throw Mr. Lee out here, the famous attorney. Let me give him some stuff. If I'm him, Mika, what's his first name? No, Lee is his first name. I can't remember his last name. But anyway, if I'm him, I'm like, I need to know more about that. You got hired when? Yeah. And what was your training like? You understand? So whoever hired you has some culpability.
Right.
Because they didn't
he said when I got there was no training. The dude that was working next to me told me what to do. And he said they go bum rush and they can knock the barricades now. That was his training. Just be prepared.
Just wear all black, man. Just wear all black.
Yeah. Let me get to this comment. Travis Scott was not responsible for this. That's like blaming the principal for how our school was designed if something malfunctions. Good point. The crowd was rowdy and had nowhere to go. And add on to that, the people who snuck in. And that's an unlimited number. You can't count that.
Let's say lean on me. Take the chains off the doors. Take the chains off the doors.
Lee Merritt.
Yeah.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
And they had the attorney that was
Ben Crump.
I gotta ask this question. I feel some type of way every single time something happens.
He's the new Al Sharpton.
He's there now, and it's.
I hit a home run off of his nephew when I was 12. So go now.
and I get it. That's a need. You know, when something goes wrong, you're there. But is this like a level of a vulture? Like somebody that finds the worst situations, and it makes him more the more go-to guy. I want to get your thoughts on that, A-Trap.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Because it's the same guy. Like Lee Merritt was doing it, but it's that guy. Is the guy every time something goes wrong. Yeah, Ben Crump is always on the scene. Okay.
So what about it? What are you asking, Ben? Like,
I'm saying, is he a vulture just looking for the best opportunity?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was gonna go. I was just waiting for him to finish. That's exactly what it's called, ambulance chasing. So you call it a vulture, but if I'm in that business, and at this point, I'm willing to bet half the time he's on chasing is not because he chased them; they chased him.
Exactly. That's why I say he's
his reputation.
That's why he's a
so both are true.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I'm an ambulance chaser, and to a certain extent, I get chased.
Right.
You know, but at some point, you become the expert in those situations because you've been in so many of them. So if we're in those situations, I'm calling Lee Merritt, or I'm calling Ben Crump, I'm calling what's the guy out of Houston, Tony, what's his name, Tony Busby or something like that. You know,
he only do massage parlors.
Rappers and athletes.
Hey, well, I'm both.
That's what I was about to say, man.
We don't do happy ending.
Most people beat that, but
more so than there you go. Let's stay with that. Finish that thought. That's exactly. I agree. Busby would be more that than
Crump. Right? Yeah. Because in a run, I'm fishing. You can look at Crump like you look at Cochran.
That's right. I agree.
It just wasn't social media, and you know, I don't know if we knew what Cochran did besides.
That's right.
OJ
but he got
Michael
to that
Jackson
point.
Yeah, but Michael Jackson was accused of touching boys. Cochran. Snoop Dogg was accused of murder. Cochran.
Yeah.
Ronald Pratt. Cochran. I mean, he was around. He was getting a lot of people out. A lot of sticks.
BS3 Network wasn't paying King Dog. Cochran, nigga.
Y'all dug him up.
Right, yeah, he died.
The glove doesn't fit.
There's another Cochran out there somewhere. Yeah,
his son is something like that.
Red Cochran. Tyrone Cochran.
Yeah.
Jerome Cochran. I get what you're saying, man. It at times
it leaves a bad taste.
Like an ambulance chaser, but he's also a needed entity because when you wrong someone and Ben Crump show up, most folks have a check.
Game time. Right. Yeah. And I hear that point because if it was just James Wilson, you'd be like, oh, this is But Ben Crump, he's got some.
Yeah. And sometimes, hey, guess what? The defense, when a Cochran or Crump shows up on a civil suit, you know, you got to call it the defense, right? Or the prosecution, whenever he's the defense attorney, you follow me? They may be more apt to do some things they wouldn't do if James Wilson was on the representing attorney or whatever. So that name recognition at some point may cause you to do what I wouldn't normally do, which is more favorable to my client.
Yeah, right. And I'll say this. I mean, when they do it in the press conference, the dude is magnificent at that. He knows how to deliver the message, but also push the buttons. And everybody that's watching is like, man, if he's on it, you're behind the person automatically when you see it.
If it doesn't fit,
hey, I ain't gonna get paid from this shit.
All right, so the venue opened at 10. We have all been to the amusement park when it opens, or been to some type of event when the doors open and everybody's rushing in. And Astroworld actually being a former amusement park, I can remember going to Great America was in California. That was the Six Flags, and you were living your best life. It didn't matter, and you really had like $20. All right, you was about to get two things, and that was it. All right, so you better spend that money wisely. But hey, it was the best time,
What
man. The
thing?
last
What,
day.
you gonna get a straw and a drink?
That was like one thing. Like, we had two things: a drink and something to eat. That was it.
Back then, $20 would get
I was went pretty far.
a drink, and I played a couple of games with that because I guarantee you that I didn't have no more than $20 when I went to no amusement park. And I remember every time. No, I got a drink that I don't know if they had the free refills on the souvenir cup or whatever.
Yeah,
and then you know, one meal, nigga, you better choose that meal wisely.
Yeah.
You could be there all day long.
You got a few dollars to shoot some basketballs and hope you can walk home with a basketball.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
Because I know when you were
I was in lodge with two things for $20. Well, you get on.
we were cleaning up. Because I remember when we were going, the biggest thing was you wanted to win those different college basketballs.
That's right. Yeah.
You had to get those different college basketballs when you shooting hoops. That's Six Flags. Oh, that's all you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you had to go find the best shooter. You were like, hey, win me this basketball. Because
then you had to win. You tried to win the stuffed animal for your girl.
I loved. I had a cousin that I went with one time.
Sweetie Bird was
and his cousin, and they thought they were better hoopers and shit like that. Just I weighed them by about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
But Charles Barkley was around at that time, so I was like, shit, I'm gonna win the bat. And I'm the only one bouncing that bitch on the way home.
Exactly.
Nigga, you wanna hold my ball?
Let my know. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I said ball. Ooh,
okay.
Singular.
Hey, some people only got one, so
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you got an Astroworld story?
Yes, sir. Ironically, not only do I have an Astroworld story, what's funny about it is that same weekend, it was connected to my very first rap concert. So we were seniors in high school. It was the spring of the year we were graduating. So we decided, one of my best friends, also my cousin, he had a car, a little Honda Civic hatchback kind of thing, right? Where you can put $5 in and ride for 17 years, and so we rode down to Houston. Me, him, I think it was 4 guys in that Civic, if I'm not mistaken. That's all they could fit there. And so we went there. We stayed with one of his relatives, at their house, just sleeping on their couch. At that age, I sleep on the floor. I sleep in the car. Matter of fact, I did sleep in the car the night before we were coming back because we got locked out of the house. But anyway, we went to Astroworld. Astroworld was a big time amusement park. It was famous. It was, like we were coming from Dallas to go to it, even though we had Six Flags. Why? They had one of the first roller coasters that your legs dangled. You sat in the seat. You were connected up top instead of down below. So it was a big deal for us. So we went to we drove there Friday evening, went to Astroworld all day long on Saturday, came home, got locked out of the house.
You came home late?
To sleep in the car.
Oh man.
So when the morning came, we were supposed to go back because I got a concert to go to Sunday night back at Reunion Arena in Dallas, my very first concert. With Heavy D, Kid and Play, Queen Latifah.
You gotta make it.
Who else was there? Oh, Digital Underground. Digital Underground. So you talking about back then, like Digital Underground doing the Humpty Dance, and the entire Reunion Arena is doing the Humpty Dance. That's a core memory that even if you couldn't dance, you could dance that night because everybody doing the Humpty. But Astroworld back in my day, if you lived in Texas. At the very least, forget if you lived in Houston. If you lived in Texas, Astroworld was a destination.
And then they had that crazy ride where it was a roller coaster, but it twisted. It was
it was part of where your leg again. That was the one that was connected at top.
Okay, that was the
and
one.
It twisted as well. So you upside down with your legs swinging. This, it was wild.
Yeah, man.
I've only been on one roller coaster in my life.
What?
In the entire hell is the fascination with that.
I love some roller coasters.
I don't know. I don't
thrill.
know if it's that's why they call it thrill.
Rush, it's that rush, man.
I don't know if it's
you define
gravity.
Whatever with this machine. Speed and gravity. It's just like you're flying. Yeah.
It's a blast. Because I'm this close to being too fucking scared to do it.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah,
but
I'm done.
do it. Like for me though, one of the worst amusement park rides in the entire world, history of the world, which I rode probably 5, 6, 7 times, was the Cliffhanger in Dallas. All it did, in Arlington at Six Flags, all it did was took you up.
Yep.
In this little elevator looking thing, but you were sitting down or whatever.
Yes.
It took you up, paused, pushed you out, and dropped your ass.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
it
it was like
called
4
Drop
stories.
Zone. Yeah.
I think it was 4 stories or some shit.
Yeah,
like
was
that,
fun.
and they were making it a big attraction. I do remember the Cliffhanger, but it was like
every time I got on the Cliffhanger, nigga, I was like rethinking life to see, like, nigga, what are you doing? Like, why would you do this? But you know,
this one, Lord, I will do right. I will never steal a honey bun.
Got right back in line again.
Yeah,
And
that
stole
Cliffhanger
some
was
more
dope.
honey buns when I got back to golf.
Hey, and they actually,
But the Judge Roy Spring, the Shockwave, the Cliffhanger, Shockwave. Did I say the Shockwave?
Yeah.
The what was the first wooden roller coaster? The
Giant.
Giant.
Yeah, that was
You're gonna die.
Now, by the time Superman and Batman and all them came out, I was done.
Right.
You know, my bulging disc say you ain't riding no more damn roller coasters as bad as I want to.
done.
You're right. I'm finished.
So I loved them. I'd ride them. It wasn't a roller coaster made, I wouldn't get on.
Oh yeah.
They have a Facebook page. I think it's this ride. It's called the Slingshot. It's the same thing where it drops down. They got a whole Facebook page. I think it's in Tampa or Florida or something.
Yeah, they got one in
on them, and basically they just post people fainting, people throwing up, people like yelling.
I used to get on walk the Sammys and get shot at. I used to walk the Sammys. That was it for me.
His roller coaster. Yeah, all the ground.
Once you live through that, y'all need no more three.
More roller coasters, man.
But when they was on the news and they had like every single summer somebody fell out, I was like,
I didn't even know about that.
It was getting complacent. They weren't checking the material, the product. Yeah,
because most of the time it's high school students or right out of high school working the machines. Like, I can't trust you, man. To monitor if I'm buckled in, if this thing operating correctly. All right, so there was a group of three guys. The fourth guy was the young man Rudy.
They burgers and fries and shakes.
Nigga. So the three guys that went to the concert, and I think we can all relate to this. You know, you going somewhere that was like, man, we had the fits ready, we had the glasses. They were excited because, and I think they came from Laredo, but it was people coming from all over, you know, to come to this festival. And so they kind of showed three different stories, and we'll kind of touch on each one. But the three guys, they're at the concert, they're having a good time. Everything kind of goes haywire, and he sees one of his friends, and he was like, man, just because the guy's like, I can't breathe. So the guy's like, well, just calm down, man, take a deep breath. We'll catch up later. Obviously, they never caught up to him, and that was the young man Rudy that actually ended up passing away. But you think of those three guys, one of their closest friends, and now you got to go on without him, and you know that was a sad moment. And then you look at the young man to play basketball. He went there with his friends. You think everybody's gonna come out, you know, free and come home, and everybody's gonna be fine. Bree is the one that ended up passing away.
Sorry. I'm trying to get y'all to picture.
We on a show.
Slingshot. Yeah, I'm trying to get y'all to picture the slingshot right quick.
And then the last guy ended up having a heart attack. And this is I think this has got to be the highlight of the whole, you know, the lone bright spot of it. She was a nursing student, just graduated, went to the concert. She ended up, rendering aid to this guy. He ends up living because of that. So that goes to the point. You never know. Yeah, you never know. You know where you are in a particular time, and she was afraid for her life. But she's like, I'm a nurse. And, you know, how can I go back and help? And there's people. So talk about the medical aspect Wilkes, I'm gonna come to you first, and they had the medical staff, and he was like, I thought I was gonna be chilling, and it was
right. You didn't think for a moment you were gonna have extra backup for the paramedics and the ambulance. There was one scene where it was overhead. It looked like at least maybe I counted 4 or 5 ambulances that were trying to get through, trying to get in. Yeah. And the fact that somebody was calling from 911 under the crowd. Right.
Like, someone please call 911.
Right. Might get this man.
Yeah, it's just seeing that. And somebody, of course, it's like you're trying to you're performing CPR in the middle of this concert, and he's going on to the next song. Like he said, I got a show to put on. He's not concerned or can see what's happening right there, because I'm locked in with the energy that I'm getting from the crowd. So then you've got another aspect of it where, like you said, you're giving somebody CPR, somebody's being crushed, somebody's on the verge of passing or is seriously injured. So it was one of those things where it was just like, you've got an element over here enjoying the concert. You've got him on the stage directing, or doing his thing with the concert. But then you have this other portion that's like in turmoil. Like he said, it was like one of the guys said, it was like a horror movie. It was like they won't stop pushing forward. They won't stop landing on me or stepping on me at that point. It was just insane. I was just like, that is pretty crazy. Like you said, you thought it was going to be a chill concert. You kind of stand around, but no, I gotta save somebody. I got a life to save. I got a few lives to save. Yeah.
The paramedic was like, this is going to be easy money.
Right.
And then he gets back to the tent. And he's like, all right, I can sit down and relax now. And he looks over his shoulder. There's 3 people over here. 3 people over here.
Yep. Yeah.
So, touch on that, Doc.
Yeah, he talked about it. He said he made a statement that says, if I'm having to do real paramedic work, somebody not having a good day. Yeah. Right. And the cat was like literally nonstop. I want to say they said there were 3 CPR attempts going on at the same time at one point.
Yes.
In that same little area. It's like full. Yeah. Like
being, when we're at the Stars games and we're at the in the bowels of the arena and all the paramedics, every single game, there's paramedics. There's what's the little thing they ride? I was slipping my tongue, man. The gurney or whatever you want to call it. There's one of those. But them brothers in place. I think one of them's a brother. In fact, he'd be chilling so hard every week, like it ain't.
The Bobcat.
No,
when they drive. No, the
thing thinking about the Zamboni.
Oh, you talking about the cart? The cart with the
little flatbed on
it. They have one of those.
The one that walk into if you push it into the ambulance, the legs fold up.
The gurney.
That's what I'm talking about. They roll through with that after every post game while we're waiting to go into the locker room. With paramedics at events like that are not expecting to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
Ever, they just not.
Yeah. A-Track.
Well, the only thing I just made me wonder is like, okay, they told us at the very beginning, at the top of the documentary, that it's a chaotic situation. Again, back to Live Nation. How in the entire hell don't you have paramedics like every 30 feet? Because if they acting like this, the question is, how many Travis Scott concerts have someone passed out at? This ain't the first time, dog.
No.
So, and to show you that the young man did have empathy when he locked in on somebody, he did stop his concert. He did say, help that person. And then, so maybe this is happening so frequently that when he said, help them, okay, they got help. Back to business.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't see the young man. I don't see him as being just coarse, individual who just, hey man, I got to sing. He gonna the rest of y'all have a good time. He ain't coming to the next concert, no way.
Right.
He didn't give me that vibe.
Yeah, that he knew exactly what was going on and decided to, I'm just going to keep going. There's no way he knew exactly what was going on. Right. He's trying to perform, number one, and they're talking to him in his ear, but what are they telling him?
Exactly.
And is he able to process that in the middle of singing, lift your hands up?
Yeah.
Everybody say, whatever,
And you know, like he said, the guy put up the manuscript and he said, you know, he's talking in his ear. Or, he went back and talked to the sound man. Is like, all right, this is bad. Like, you need to cut this off at 10 o'clock, I think is what he said, or 8 minutes or whatever.
And they left it for another 40.
Right. And so if they did say that in his ear, like, I think he would have stopped it.
And who
They're like, look, there's people
also,
literally dying.
Okay, I'm glad we're here. Okay. Because they said, here's the deal. Speak truth to power.
Yeah.
That means you're telling the proper authority what the truth is. You know, the person who has the power to do something about it. You know, so did you speak truth to power, or did you try to, I don't want to be the one to shut this down.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if y'all have ever been connected to something so huge that there are consequences if you shut this down, and it shouldn't have been shut down.
Yeah.
That's an aspect of it that, you know, it's real. Okay, I'll give you an example. We spent probably 6 months, maybe almost a year, in getting this new software system for an entire claims department. We're changing from one software to the other. When we got to roll it out, you got to put in all your coding. You got to do all this stuff and make sure it works. The morning it was supposed to go live,
always
I cut it off.
Always.
Sounds familiar.
I cut it off.
Always.
And when I say the VP looked at me and said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Don't roll this out." And fortunately, an hour later, he was at my desk tapping on me and said, "You don't know how much you just saved us," because they were able to verify what I was saying wasn't working properly.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when I say, I probably told him 5 minutes later than I should have, because I was like, I can't tell them to shut this whole. You got 3 regions. So my point is, you got so much money riding on this. You know, so with them, if you're not talking to the guy in charge, you know, or the girl in charge, speak truth to power. That was a statement that was huge to me in this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who you getting this information to? Now they said at one point that the person who had the decision-making authority couldn't be found at the time.
Yeah.
Where was he at? Going to knock him some off?
He's Scrooston.
Yeah. And so and the guy that was from Billboard that was being interviewed, he made a really good point when he's like, all right, Travis Scott sees this and it's like he was processing it. And I think to your point, A-Trav, I think he was like making sure the guy got to a safe location. I don't know if he was thinking like, all right, I need to shut this down, or he was more like, okay, this particular person I can tell is not doing well.
And like one of y'all said, if for instance, Michael Jackson, we don't see people faint all the time. A-Trap said, have other people passed out at his concerts before? I'm willing to bet absolutely. Probably several at each of the festivals that he's had. You know,
absolutely.
So you're not knowing people are dying. You're not knowing that this is one of the worst ever. Another aspect the documentary brought out is that this was post-COVID. So people had this "we've been locked up" mentality. So we're gonna let it all hang out.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a different element to this one that nobody was necessarily aware of. We weren't thinking when we rolled stuff back out and opened stuff back up that people were going to be in this mentality. You know, y'all remember after COVID at games and stuff like that, people was fighting everywhere more than ever. Every week you got 2 or 3 stories. Somebody at a Colts game, somebody at a Kansas City Chiefs game, somebody at a
people fighting in the stands. Man, it was crazy.
Week, 2 or 3 stories. But that's what post-COVID was. It like people was, you know.
And you think of someone, or you think of a large group of people that aren't as mature. They aren't 30. They aren't 40 years old. They're excited to just be somewhere, and they're willing to do whatever to enjoy that time, even if it's standing on top of somebody.
Even the ex-police chief or whoever he was, he said kids are gonna be kids. They're gonna be doing kids things, you know. And like you said, you've been locked up and cooped up, and a year later you get to go back out in the public and at a venue like that. Like you said, I didn't even know it was a festival. I didn't even know it was a thing until this accident happened. So, or whatever they'll call it.
Tragedy.
You know, tragedy. Sorry. It was one of those things where it was just like, oh, is this a new one? Like, is this the first one? No, it's not the first one. So, yeah, it was just one of those things where it was kind of like Doc said, we're gonna let it all hang out. We're just gonna have a good time. We're gonna go crazy. We moving from stage.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest for fear of a slightly embarrassment? Like, I'm wondering at this point, as the documentary is going, I'm like, how did they die? Like, it still doesn't register all the way with me that in that situation it can be compressed. So the actual cause of death is called death by compression asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Okay, and in that particular term, again, death by compression asphyxiation refers to fatalities caused by external pressure on the body that restricts breathing. This can occur when a person's chest or abdomen is compressed, preventing proper inhalation. It can happen in various scenarios, such as being pinned under a heavy object. I can dig that. Caught in a crowd surge.
But how long? Because due to specific restraint techniques, like the one used in the Eric Garner case, leading to Black Lives Matter slogan, "I can't breathe." Yeah. Okay. So again, I was asking, okay, was this oxygen deprivation or being squeezed to death by the cloud? And the answer is both.
Both.
So being
all three. There's people on the ground.
You hear how many people talking about they was looking up, and this guy was like trying to say steady they breathing, and they were telling him, man, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how tight that had to be, man. You got to be getting pushed from all sides.
Your lung can't expand.
No,
yeah, comment probably.
It's probably
no. Big Illinois.
Yeah, you can't.
I was laughing at this. I'm sorry.
It sounds like a ticket moment, Doc.
Yeah, so again, you're talking about later in the documentary. So at the time, I'm getting this early on. Like, was this oxygen deprivation or being squeezed to death by the crowd? And then later on in the doc, we learned that there were 10 deaths by compression somebody help me. Asphyxiation. Ben, your ass ain't there.
I got you.
I didn't ask you for that.
Hey, you said somebody, and I'm somebody.
And you know what else though? Imagine your breathing constricted in the midst of a panic attack.
Right, there you go. And that's probably what your body over the edge.
Brain is exactly
nervous.
Right. Because your brain is saying we're pinned. Yeah, because your brain is saying we're pinned down at that point.
Right. And think about it. Even the people that survived started thinking already, am I going to die here? They said it.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time. She's like, one of the person I think was on the ground.
Somebody said it was like
all of them.
And she was like, am I going to die down here?
One person said it was like drowning, but in people.
God, dog.
Drowning,
that's the worst, man. That's you think you're having the best time of your life.
Crazy.
And you end up dying at something that you thought was going to be fun. Because one of them said, when you had the large crowd and it's going back and forth like this, and if you miss your footing just that much, you can end up on the ground.
That's it.
And that was the nurse that she said. I mean, that was the one that said, "I'm not gonna die here." Like, and somebody reached down and grabbed someone. Like, it's.
Hey,
what I like about this, man, is the way they did these interviews placed you at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I damn near started losing my damn breath watching this shit and hearing them.
And the camera angle that they got from the cell phone, that's what I'm like, man, y'all collected all of this information. Like,
one of the worst. One of the worst ways.
This is why I stopped playing offense. Because I got caught up on the dog.
Oh, yeah. You hadn't had a panic attack playing football and you carrying the ball and you got 12 people.
You can't get up.
Oh, my God.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I can't even imagine. And when it's a fumble and there's a pile up and there's somebody on top of it, and it's 3 linemen on top.
One on the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know how more people haven't passed out or died.
Yeah.
What do you think you got?
That's not a power bottom position. That's just the bottom.
Hey, that's a horrible position.
Yeah, that's horrible.
At the bottom of the dog pound.
I mean, yes, that's good. That is produced, that is created, that is constructed specifically for your enjoyment, sir. So I hope the fact that A-Trap got a giggle out of it is a bonus, but it was for you, sir.
Yes.
I want you to know.
Yes. Thank you.
So I wanna take this minute to pull up a graphic of all of the The victims, so Axel Acosta,
And the 9-year-old? Where is your
9-year-old
people?
Ezra,
What?
Where
Danish,
is your people?
Madison,
Going there.
John. This kid John was 14.
14.
Jacob, 21. Franco, Rudy, who was one of the friends of the guys. Brianna, 16. I'm not gonna try to say that name, but she was 22.
Barty.
Barty?
Barty over here.
Oh,
Barty over
22.
there.
Barty.
Quit hitting
Just don't.
your drops on me.
It's the audience, man. It's the audience, the studio audience. But
Hey,
the 9-year-old, like, obviously he had to have been there with a parent, right?
But yeah,
Or
where is your
older or
parents? They
something.
probably declined
Yeah.
to any of
That would be that amount of pain.
Yeah, because they probably are beating themselves up about it.
Yeah.
They declined definitely.
Oh,
And so
he said if they're going to glory.
wow.
Wow, Nickel Slick.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was
Wow.
thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm not calling you Nickel Slick.
Talk about your Lord Savior Jesus. Oh, sorry.
But I know we're about to wrap up because I gotta pee. The fact that they talked about somebody being injected with drug needles.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. And then the other couple of things are just the fact that he started getting issues with his sponsors, like Nike was about to release a shoe, I guess, with him.
Yep.
Right.
And then Coachella, that appearance was put into question,
Yeah. And when you look at the kind of the aftermath of everything and the interview, he did the apology on his,
which got a lot of backlash.
Yeah. And I think as a culture, we got a bad problem of trying to judge how people apologize, judge how people mourn, judge how people deal with things. That's the
society nowadays.
Was it best for him to go on Instagram Live and do the apology? No. That would have been, to me, that should have been a press conference.
Based on, think about it, the people who did not like the apology were not the people that he was talking to, probably. That ain't his fans. That ain't his followers.
Well, some of the fans on here was like, they didn't agree. They didn't like it.
Yeah, well.
They're not fans of his no more. But
I mean, what do they want? Probably not. But that's what happened. You put him on a pedestal. What do you expect? He's got a show to command.
He's not God.
Yeah. This is
what they said at the beginning. They was like, this dude is God to some people.
You like it because again, he's not God, but apparently, if I interview with Charlemagne the God, you like that better,
right?
Yeah,
that's the fight.
That was a sit down, more of a sit down interview, but he couldn't win. It really didn't matter what he did, how he would have apologized. He wouldn't have won.
Yeah. As an official, when I make a call, if I got both sides pissed off at me, I made a great call.
I'm doing good. I'm down the middle.
If I've had both coaches yell at me the whole game, great.
Good. And years later, this was 2021. We're not at 2025. He dropped that album. I think that was 2023 or 2024, and it wasn't even brought up. So time. I know that the saying is time heals all wounds. I don't necessarily agree with that. Time, erases.
Let me give you something else. What they call a news cycle, A-Trap, you'll know it. Is it a 72-hour news cycle? Most of the time. This one might have got a 144-hour news cycle. But my point is, once the news cycle is over, it's over. Once it's not above the fold. Now again, this is what we used to call it when terrestrial newspapers was coming out and stuff like that. Not everything online, but if it wasn't above the fold,
no.
If you can't see it when it's in the machine, if you can't see it, when you walk by the newsstand, y'all got newsstands still there.
Nobody's reading.
There's a city that would have a newsstand. I would think it would be New York, Chicago. Do y'all got newsstands, A-Trap?
Yeah, we still have a few. Not a lot.
They still have some in Maryland when I was out there.
Yeah, if it ain't above the fold, that means when your newspaper is folded, it is above the. If it ain't that, it's a wrap.
Yeah, and really the people, the families are the ones that gotta mourn and deal with it every day. You know, allowing your son, daughter to go
for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, going with your friend, and you thought you was gonna meet up with your friend, and then you realize they at the hospital, and you're like, okay, maybe they fine.
That's tough.
That's the worst, man. I've never experienced that. I don't.
How about they were talking about? Did they make it out?
Right.
You get separated. Just getting separated in a crowd, it can induce a panic attack.
Yeah.
Especially, if you talk being asked a question earlier about parents and stuff like that. Have you ever misplaced a kid for about a few seconds?
Really?
Just a few seconds. I'm Chico. Speaking of him, this twice he done come up today. We had a high school football game when he was about 4 or 5. Mama thought I had his hand. I thought Mama had his hand, and we had, I think Nico was probably there. We had several people there. All of a sudden, where'd Chico at?
Right.
Now he done walked off because he saw some interesting shit. But my point is,
every kids do.
About the panic that induces. So if you're in a situation where a crowd is probably 40 times larger, and you lose somebody, shit. Have you ever been lost? You done been lost in a captive building in panic.
Yeah.
You know, like a Kmart or some shit.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is find customer service and they announce it, but you know your mama gonna beat your ass when she finds it.
When she get a hold of you, it's over. Yeah, it's over.
When we get to this car.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've been many times I've been called over the PA at the Kmart.
Right.
Yeah.
You over there by the damn nachos and ices and shit. You know
Is this it? I said
shit. You over there reading the magazines, looking at the toy.
I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody in the world that made no better nachos than Kmart's nachos with just cheese on. Ain't nobody ever did it.
Let me get the icy on the side. Let's go, baby.
Nobody ever did it.
Yeah, man.
I promise you. Somebody fat on grandmama was making them nachos back there.
Let's go, Kmart.
This is a great comment, Big Mo. Time don't heal that. You just learn how to live.
That's right, Mo.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. He said, I lost 6 kids at Disney for 10 minutes. Scary. 6?
Hey, man. That's a shuffle right there.
I'm asking everybody. Mickey, did you see them? Mickey.
When you found them, were they all still together? But in all seriousness, some people would be terrified even more if they lost kids at Disney, considering the conspiracy theories about Disney. That is not the place you want to lose.
Not the place.
Yeah.
Right.
Shit, them damn kids end up on Epstein Island here. You better keep a hold of them.
Yeah, man. Round them up, man.
Stop
it. Epstein plane.
I hope it wasn't baby kid.
Which I have passed on a.
He trying to leave us?
Really?
Yeah.
Like how long was he? This is when he was alive, or
no? He was dead.
Were they virgins?
Before he passed away, he sold the island to his brother for like $6 or some shit.
No.
So it wasn't his name. But yeah, in the Virgin Islands, beautiful.
Ironically,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
Ironically, I just circled it. I didn't go on it.
Were they virgins?
Were they what?
Were they virgins?
No, I didn't hear what he said.
Go ahead.
All right.
We ain't selling nothing there. We about to have a profane prophet on BS3 Network. The dysfunctional disciple, he gonna say some shit that's gonna make you get up. So he finna come at an establishment. I hope you understand. He finna tear down some walls. So if whatever you got to say, Wilkes, is gonna be kids play whenever this. So say it.
Oh no, but are they virgins? I'm just saying.
I'm out. I quit.
I told
you. I mean,
all right. So they ended the documentary. They ended the documentary saying Live Nation worked with Travis Scott again in a 2024 concert, which was the highest grossing concert for a solo artist. So, and I'm not surprised about that. Live Nation, they said they're basically like, the whatever you can think of, the highest level of concert promotion. Yeah. So they're gonna work with everybody, Beyonce, Jay-Z, whoever. So I'm not surprised. And Travis Scott, I'm sure he dealt with a lot of backlash, but I don't know if this documentary is going to stir up more or
Nah,
is it going to
not.
brush too?
Not anything.
Everybody worry about Puff Daddy now, man.
Business as usual.
Yeah.
Puff Daddy.
Did he? Did he?
It's amazing
All right.
how much baby oil back on the shelves, though.
Now that Johnson Johnson's out of the clear.
Yeah, then they don't sell it at
We
Costco.
was having you dollar store baby oil. Hell, it just said DG on it.
A little more greasy.
I like when I get looked subtly. Where the joke just sneak up on his ass. Right? He gets a visual. It's like I can almost see inside his brain. He got the picture in chocolate. I can see it.
Absolutely.
That is hilarious.
Because that's how I work.
I know it. It's like I can almost see inside your skull, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Final thoughts. Mike rating. A-Trap, we can come to you first.
I'm gonna get about a 4, Mike, man. I enjoyed it. It just was a horrific situation, and only thing about this documentary is the fact that they hung a whole lot of this on the performer. He's not an engineer. He's not a promoter. He's a hired gun.
Yeah.
They put his name on it. You know
He's
what I
the
mean?
talent. The talent don't know what the venue, the seating venue gonna be like.
And then he's 30, you know. And I'm rarely doing that. He's just a kid thing, but he is a young man. And I just didn't like the way they tried to hang it on Travis. You know, I don't know his music, but you're a star. He looks like he puts on one hell of a show. And I just didn't like the way they just tried to pin it on him instead of going up. Like even somebody in the thing said it. You don't point at the star, you point up. The bankroll is where you start because the bankroll kept some money because they didn't want to pay for security. The bankroll didn't have medics there. The bankroll is the problem, not the talent.
Yeah. All right. Man.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm right there with A-Trap, maybe about 4 mics, because I didn't know much about it. So I wanted to know that information. I feel like when it did happen, it came so quickly. It was just like, okay, well, this happened at Astroworld. It's under investigation. All right. In other news, and then like years went by and it just got quieter and quieter. Yeah. But obviously they didn't have any more Astroworlds after that. But no, I enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty good because I didn't really know exactly what caused this accident or what caused tragedy. I keep saying accident. It was definitely one of those things. Like I said, I don't think it was Travis's fault. It was like if you didn't look at the blueprint of my other, concerts and they weren't adjusting security or safety through the years,
and knowing that this one was different than probably all of his other.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like it's almost like, hey, we know what we're expecting. We got to have this many people on staff, blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, no, it was interesting to watch. I mean, I don't, like you said, is it going to stir up some more information? I don't know. I think there's enough money thrown at keeping it quiet as much as possible and paying those off that need to be paid off. I think it's, it's like, don't bring it up again and keep it moving.
Love money.
Hey. Yeah.
All right. For me, man, it was a well done documentary. And,
for
and
the weed, man.
Huh?
You said for the weed, man. It was
hey man, chill out after the show.
And these Trainwreck documentaries are well done. I would say check out the whole series, but it really broke down what it was like to be in the moment. Like you said, dog, you were there, even though you weren't there, you were there. The 911 calls, which are chilling. Hearing someone at a concert calling 911,
man, crazy
is
under a crowd.
I don't know if I've ever heard
and even 911 is so thrown by it. You're calling him a
what?
concert, like, why are you calling us? Shouldn't there be somebody around? Like, what are you reporting? Like they asked him, what are you reporting?
I'm under.
Shit, I don't know. Panic, chaos. I don't know what I'm reporting. Somebody about to die. We being
and then the fact that they jumped up there with the cameraman trying to get his attention.
Right. And so I think you can't put it on Travis. Now, the only caveat I would say is if he heard the people saying "stop the show" and he just ignored it, that's a different story. but I don't think he did. The cameraman was like, "Nah, y'all get back."
Yeah.
So that guy,
Some people jump on stage.
that guy,
even if they told him specifically, because I was where you were, but now that you say it and I hear it out loud, I'm gonna lean a little bit more toward A-Trap. Even if they say it, stop the show in his ear. I'm an artist on stage. What are you talking about?
I'm in adrenaline mode.
Send somebody out there. Don't tell me to stop the show.
Yeah. My adrenaline is yeah.
You come out there and you're like, you know, I mean, think about it. There's been
what exactly did they say? Because they really were like fluffy. We're like, well, you can stop it in a couple minutes.
In 8 minutes. That's right.
It's not going that well. What does that mean?
To be stopped, you needed to stop it immediately. When you tell me stop it in 8 minutes, you're telling me it's not that serious.
Right.
Exactly.
I agree with that. And one thing we didn't touch on was the photographer that worked for Live Nation, and she came on and said, I'm probably about to lose my job or my partnership with Live Nation because of the meeting they had afterwards, and like, be quiet and don't say anything. And they just told her, you know, stay in the moment. And even she was feeling like, I'm taking these photos.
They told her to lean into the chaos.
Right.
Going into it, like lean into it. That means, you know, you trying to capture it and you are trying to encourage it.
Right.
Put Poetic Sin's last comment up there about the kids that he lost at Disney World. I love it.
But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Probably why they got sent back. Poetic Sin, Disney didn't keep the EMA.
Right.
They keeping our kids, they send them right back.
Yeah. All right, Doc.
Yeah, imagine a bunch of hood kids on Epstein Island. Shit, you think they gonna put their ass on the boat so damn quick?
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't want to.
Trying to drug them. Nigga, we was high when we got here. Hey, what you talking about?
Right.
They ain't gonna stop nothing.
It ain't coming.
All right, for me, before I get my mic ready, I'm gonna tell you what contributed to it. Again, the fact that I said the way they did the interviews placed you at the scene, and I literally started losing my doggone breath. Right?
Yeah.
They talked when Travis Scott talked about the fact that he grew up in Houston, going to Astroworld, and what it meant to him when they shut the park down, the amusement park down and stuff like that. That's good meat, you know.
Right.
So for me,
good backstory.
I'm at a 4.5 for the documentary, you know, and A-Trap makes a valid point about them being wrong about how they place blame, but I'm not going to necessarily knock a documentary for having an opinion that I disagree with. You know, it's theirs. Guess what? Do we want them to give an opinion, or do they want them to just give the information and let us decide? You know, some may lean toward that, you know, and a majority of the people may. Don't give me no damn opinion, but. Right. I like the boldness of giving me the opinion, even if I disagree with it, you know. Yeah. So I'm at a 4.5, and I highly recommend the documentary if you hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Did you see any ratings?
I didn't, because of the fact that it is part of a docu-series. I hadn't seen anything where they rate each individual one, you know. So I have not.
And it's new. I think it just came out. What was that, last week or the week before?
No, yeah.
Okay. All right, so coming up next week, Sinners, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen. It's coming to Max, so we'll be able to watch it and kind of soon, but I'm fine with it, you know. I'll take it.
What you mean kind of soon?
It seemed like it was just the movie just came out last month.
But you mean it's being taken off of Netflix or Max already?
Put into the streaming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was pretty okay.
Yeah. All right. So what's coming up tomorrow, or what happened today on the End of the Bench?
Well, I did this thing about chefs versus cooks, and chefs will be young people, cooks will be older people, and chefs, cook. They put stuff together. Chefs prepare, and together you make the community. You teach the young people how to prepare themselves for life. Mm-hmm. Check it out.
Interesting.
Great point. Which the End of the Bench media on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Numbers are going up, so support A-Trap. Make sure to like, click that notification bell, leave a comment. Comments definitely go far as far as the algorithm.
Yeah, even if it's after you, leave a comment. See, we don't care what it is.
It's in the algorithm.
It's something.
Just talk to us.
Yeah. All right.
Shout out to the racists that have been chiming in hard.
Right, love it.
Hey, you doing something right?
All you gotta do is post, underneath their comment, put "laugh out loud." That doesn't make them comment even more.
Like and love.
Right.
Love.
Love it.
I want to push them. But go ahead.
I do. And they keep coming back.
Yeah. Like a bad check. Tomorrow on Queen 3 and King, critical thinking. We will have Marriage is Real on with Damien and Jamie Johnson. Very popular show. Had a couple of Hollywood actors sit in with them on 3 or 4 shows based on their show, Marriage is Real, so they got some powerful commentary. And then we will also have Chef Jeff, speaking of chefs, and his wife, Latoya Gilliard. So Jeff Gilliard, Latoya Gilliard, and she is a therapist in that space. So we expect some very good content. Now this is coming off of Don't Touch Shit. Last week we talked about the shit your mama say. This week we're going to talk about something serious, which is critical thinking. How do you think about your spouse? And does that thinking cause you to move differently? Should you retrain yourself about how you think of them, how you see them? So it'll be fascinating. So I think it'll be just as powerful as our series Daddy Issues that we've been doing. So tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on BS3 Network.
All right. So we'll see you next week. Sinners, go ahead and close us out, Trap.
Shout out to the Warriors, man. We in the building at all time. Someone reached out to me. That's why I was kind of laughing throughout the thing. Yeah, man. Thank y'all for tapping in. Make sure you subscribe to BS3. Make sure if you haven't already, leave a comment after the show is over. That really helps propel BS3 and the End of the Bench Media into the stratosphere. Thank you guys for tapping in. And I'm going to go combat Jack. Dream your dreams and man up, woman up, and live your dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor and surround sound. And I'm butt naked under my clothes. I'm out.
Peace.